Hey YouTube, Do-It-Yourself Junkie 369 here, and today I am going to be doing an unboxing and review of the Gold Armour Hammock. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. This is the double hammock, and I'll put a link in the description below where you can pick this up off of Amazon. I'm going to be getting into some backpacking and camping, and I figured I'd give hammock camping a try. So I'll include video of me setting this thing up, but this is not by no means a hammock setup video because I'm starting from scratch and I don't want to mislead you on that part. So basically we're going to open it up, take a look at it, compare it to some other hammocks that I have pictures of, and kind of go over why I decided to buy this particular one. During this, I'm also filming a review on an underquilt, and later I will be using those two items to sleep outside in the middle of February. It might be down below 30 degrees tonight with rain or snow. So we'll see, kind of stretching the capabilities of what these are supposed to do. We'll see how that goes. Hopefully my first night's not miserable. It'll be outside in the backyard, and if it goes really wrong, at least I can come inside and I won't be like out on the Appalachian Trail and end up dying because I did something stupid. Anyway, I got in about 4 or 5 boxes today. Not all of them were mine, so I did already cut this open just to see what was inside. Make sure I had the right box, because that'd be pretty embarrassing to do an unboxing and I accidentally have the wrong thing. So it's already cut open. I just opened it and verified the contents. I didn't move anything around. Box is pretty well sized for what I was getting. Not sure why they put those in there. It's not like any of this is going to break. And here we have, and I'm pretty excited about this if you can't tell. We have our hammock in its stuff sack inside a plastic bag, and there's even a tag in there that says, hey, if you like your hammock, make sure you go leave us a review on Amazon. I'll probably be linking this video there. If you don't like it, please let us know and we'll make it right. And one interesting thing about this hammock is looking at the pictures. You have the one I bought, and then all these others that I kind of are comparing against look like the same thing. Even the specs are similar. Some of them, instead of having straps at the end, have rope, which is a little bit lighter and stuff like that. So really, looking at fabric and colors and everything like that and comparing them, it seems that all these hammocks are coming from the same factory, probably in China, and then going to different distributors in the US. For my selection, I picked this one because I like the fact that it had straps at the hammock end. I liked that it had carabiners. I liked that it came with tree straps instead of rope. And then I also, this company, a couple of the reviewers had said that a percentage of the profits go to protecting the environment or stuff like that. So I kind of liked all of that and went with that. Now, that being said, planning ahead, there's probably going to be stuff that I changed, like those straps, while very good, are very heavy. And same thing with the carabiners. I'll probably change those out. So at 27 bucks, it's hard to get cheaper than this, but you could probably pick up one of the competitors maybe for a couple bucks cheaper and end up switching out all that hardware anyway and maybe save. But I mean, is it really worth it, saving $2 when it sounded like these guys also had the best customer service? But everything fits into this stuff sack, and it's pretty compressed. I can compress it a little bit further, And I can feel the straps up top, and then you got the hammock down here, and we'll do some measuring and weighing here. So that way you guys can get some fairly accurate specs. But as you can see, it's not much bigger than my hand, probably like kids' football size, and not very big in diameter, maybe about the size of a big water bottle. And even if I could put it in a compression sack, it could make it a little bit shorter. So let's see, there's some paperwork in here. Like I said, it has a, hey, please leave us a review. We are a small family business located in San Francisco, California. There you go. That's where they're at. By purchasing this product, you can carry on their lifelong dream vision of planting more trees and restoring forest around the globe. 5% of our profit goes to making the wilderness a better place. Oh, also helping children in need. And we have donated over 10,000 toys to children in need throughout the San Francisco's firefighters program. So based on how they spend their money, I would recommend going for this company, just on that. Other paper in here is how to use a tree strap. So other than that, that's the instructions you get. That's pretty vague. Okay, so next step is we'll go and weigh this and measure, and then we'll probably pull everything out, look at it real quick, make sure nothing's damaged or manufactured improperly, and I'll take it outside, set it up, and then go sleep in it tonight. Okay, for our hammock, nothing's compressing this down. It doesn't come in a compression sack. It is measuring right at 9 inches even, and you could stuff it in your bag, and when you do, it would compress down a little bit if you stuffed other stuff around it. And compressing it down here looks like 8 inches, so 8 to 9 inches that way, depending on if you're going compressed or uncompressed. And then 5 inches. So I would say let's go with 8 inches, since you can get it down to that size, and 5 inches in diameter, and it is round. Looking in here real quick, any weight added by packaging is going to be minimal. So we got like some rubber bands, and basically that's it. So we'll go ahead and weigh this. Okay, so for weighing, we're using this scale, and we have it set to what says is fluid ounces. There's also a pound ounce setting, and I've checked the two, and they're the same thing. So I'm not quite sure why they're calling this fluid ounces. It's just fluid ounces. It's probably Chinese made. So for the hammock here, packaged up like this, we have 31.8 ounces. That's pretty good. Online they were saying it was like 38 ounces. So hopefully my carabiners are in there. Next step is to pull it out of the packaging though, and check out everything's in there and make sure nothing's damaged or incorrectly put together. So 31.8 ounces, and that will be your pack weight for just the hammock. Okay, now that we've weighed it, let's go ahead and pull this out. We'll just get a quick look at it and make sure everything's here, nothing is messed up. So we have 2 tree straps. Basically, on these, what you have is one loop at the end here. This is the part that feeds around the tree, and then your free end here goes through that. And this strap in itself is rated for 500 pounds. that's going to be single point load. When you have two of them, that actually divides the weight being pulled on them, and so basically you have 1,000 pound suspension weight. And these are triple stitched. Here at the other end you have 16 loops for hooking your carabiner in. So it'll come off the tree, and then your carabiner, you select one of these for the best position of your hammock. There's 16 of them. And then I believe the total strap length was 10 feet. So you have two of those, and you kind of want to look at your stitching, make sure nothing is coming apart or stitched improperly there, because when you have your carabiner in here pulling, its weight is going to be on this triple bar tack here, is basically what that is. And if there's a improperly done stitching, it could cause it to just zipper down through all the sewn on loops, which is not that great of a thing to have happen. And then in here we have, oh yeah, on this particular hammock, the storage bag is part of the side, and it's just sewn on there, so it actually folds up out of the bag. I forgot about that. And then of course here are your two carabiners. And as I said, this particular hammock has straps on the ends rather than rope. And these straps have about a 4-inch overlay, 1-inch webbing with a box X stitch in it. And you can check out one of my sewing videos specifically about box X stitches and learn all about those and the calculations done to reach a certain strength. With 2 box X stitches there and the size of them, I'm guessing we're well over the 500 pound limit. The carabiners are steel and heavy. We'll take that off in a second and weigh it and give you a weight on that. And then I'll compare that to one of my rock climbing carabiners and show you just how heavy these steel carabiners are. This is a gathered end hammock. You could take these straps out and replace it with something else like rope. And basically this is just a sort of lark's head gathering going in here. And then where the end is looped over for the gathered end there, you have a triple stitch. And so basically the whole end's just gathered in and crunched up all together. Going down the edges here, you have a folded over edge with a single stitch, and then that gets folded over back down into here, and then that is triple stitch. So basically up here it's just a nice single stitch to hold this together and make it nice, and then down here where it actually matters you have the triple stitch. And then I went for the olive green to hopefully blend in a little bit better with my environment. I don't like bright colors in the woods, they're unnatural. But there's enough color selections you can go with whatever you want. If you go for the bright pink and peach one, you get it at a cheap price since nobody's buying those. And other than that, I don't see any snags or anything in this material. Running through it real quick, that would be cause for any concern with this thing splitting open on me while I'm trying to sleep in it. And then one thing you'll notice about this hammock is there's no bug netting built into it. I went with that for 2 reasons. If I'm going out when it's cold enough, I don't have to worry about bugs, and I don't want to carry bug netting that I don't need, that's extra weight, even though it is just real light mesh material. And then 2, a lot of reviews for hammocks with bug nets is that the seams usually fail there between the ripstop nylon and the bug netting. So let's go compare carabiners, the steel ones versus one of my rock climbing ones. Okay, so here's the steel carabiner that comes with the kit, just one of them. 2.1 ounces, which is not that heavy. Here is a climbing rated carabiner, 2.8 ounces. So my climbing rated carabiner is larger, or sorry, heavier, but I want you to look at the size difference there. So you can actually get climbing rated carabiners that are in this size that will be under an ounce. So that's one option to save you some weight, but granted, you've replaced 2 of these, that's 2 ounces, that's not even a quarter pound, that's 1/8 of a pound. So I guess if you're down to trying to shave grams, you can make that switch to a rock climbing carabiner that is rated at this size. Other note on the carabiners is these are probably rated at like 500 pounds, while this thing is rated, right there is its rating. Probably can't read it on camera, but closed gate along the axis we're looking at 25 kilonewtons. So that's where you could save some weight there, but if you're serious about saving weight, you'll ditch the hardware altogether and just go for ropes and straps. Okay, so I'm getting ready to set this hammock up. You want, according to online, like trees that are 12 to 15 feet apart are ideal, and no dead branches overhead or dead trees nearby, which pretty much limited me to these 2 trees. They're almost exactly 12 feet apart. Oh, the other thing is about 6 feet in diameter, or sorry, 6 inches in diameter. So like I have a lot of small underbrush stuff that's like my height, which makes setting up a hammock problematic off in that direction. And then behind the camera I have tons of pine trees with dead limbs all over the place, so it limits me here. And then on the subject of hammock versus tent, the camera here is straight. That's how much of a hill we're on. There is no place flat out here, and that's where the hammock shines. So it's my first time setting this up. I didn't do a dry run off camera, so hopefully don't make fun of me. But we're going to set the straps at about head height, and then try to have a 30-degree pitch on the sling. So that's basically from thumb to forefinger. That's about 30-degree angle there. And then as far as weather goes for tonight, it's supposed to get down to 34, some rain, wind's fairly windy, like 7 to 14 knots. So it's going to be an interesting night. So that's how easy the loops are to do. And from here it should be just simply clipping in my hammock and getting it adjusted to sit how I want it to. And this is kind of where trial and error comes in. And the more times you do it, the better off you are going to be at it. And I honestly feel like my trees are too close together. That right there is a hung hammock. Let's see if I have it at the right suggested pitch. It's a little bit too steep, it looks like. But the other side of that is I don't have very much in the way of adjustment left. What I can do is wrap this side around the tree twice to take up and move the attachment point closer into the tree. And I could do the same thing on that one. There's not much left though. That looks about perfect, but it might be on the tad too high. I guess it's not. It's about perfect height. I can sit on it just like a chair. And with this kind of pitch in it, it's not going to be very tippy. That's one thing I read about when I first looked at hammock camping. Everybody was saying like, oh, draw them out tight. But the more I researched it, the more that seems to make your hammock want to flip. And then as far as getting into it, you want to get in the center when you sit down. And then just kind of pivot into it, which we'll do that later when it's dark out. Really, because there's rain, I need to make sure I put some sort of tarp over my head so I don't get drenched tonight, and to protect me from the wind. Let's do a test run of getting into this thing. Oh, my shoes are dirty. Oh yeah, this is going to be awesome. It's like sleeping in the recliner in my house. Except for there's a little bit of gentle rocking. So for the hammock's real lightweight. It weighs just about the same as any other double out there. It's the hardware that makes it heavier. It's very comfortable as well. My trees though are 12 feet on center, and that's a little too close together, so my inexperience caused me some slight discomfort hanging in the hammock. The material itself, it didn't split, didn't rip in half, I didn't end up on the ground, and it's really soft and breathable. So in that regards, the hammock's great. Mainly any discomfort was due to my lack of experience on my part and picking two trees that was too close together. And this stretched during the night, and so my 30-degree hang ended up being a little bit steeper than 30 and causing me to banana even though I was laying at a diagonal. Next step is I need to buy a real tarp to go with this. And then instead of using my sleeping bag rated for 40 degrees, I need to pick up an underquilt that will weigh roughly half the weight. And since it's snowing, I'm going to go inside to finish this review after I take my hammock down. Okay, so finishing up my initial review on the hammock, what I like about it and what I know so far. One, because of my height, I need to go with a double hammock, and that kind of drives the weight on this hammock. If you really look in depth, the bare hammock by itself, without the carabiners and without the straps, is about only a pound, and that weight matches all these other lightweight hammocks that I have seen online that are like 4 to 8 times as much. So in my mind, looking at this is the better deal with the price, and the weight is heavy because it's a double hammock. If you're under 6 feet tall, you could go with a single hammock. I believe Gold Armour makes one of those as well. I wonder if it's Armoire or Armour. It's kind of open for interpretation. Let's call it Gold Armour because it has shields on it. Anyway, I believe they make a single hammock as well. Based on the material and the weights I've seen so far, I would say that these weigh the same as any other hammock. Where you come into your weight savings is using something like whoopee slings instead of straps and stuff like that. So like a lot of comparable priced hammocks were identical in all aspects except for instead of straps they were using rope. Rope's not necessarily good for the trees, but even like the gathered ends, they had a rope running through there, or like some 550 cord or something, rather than actual straps sewn down, and that makes a huge weight savings. But you could, for this price, buy this and then switch out the components, like switch out the strap for whoopee slings, and you're still only maybe at $100. Oh, and same with the carabiners. You swap those out for some climbing rated carabiners, the small ones with just the wire gate, because you're not actually using them to climb up a mountain, you're just hanging a hammock, and they're more than adequate for that. Those weigh, that will cut your carabiner weight in half. Or you learn how to tie some knots, and there's some quick stuff that will help you set up the hammock without the carabiners, and I'll probably cover that in some later videos, as I feel like I'm going to do some modification videos on what I do, and then also do some how to set up. Fabric itself, very comfortable, very lightweight, very breathable if you want to use this in hot weather. This was one of my driving factors from switching to tent to hammock, was being able to go out in some hotter areas, and with the air being underneath the hammock, staying nice and cool rather than sweating my butt off in a tent. So I definitely recommend this hammock for price and for weight and pack size. I mean, this is great pack wise, and I'll definitely have a follow-up review on this as I get more time in it, and I'll cover some setup and how to be comfortable. I will say I didn't sleep as, according to my watch, I didn't sleep as well as I normally do in a bed, and I didn't get as many hours, but I think that was mainly due to the hammock fabric stretched that first night, and then my trees were too close together. So I don't blame the hammock, I blame myself and being a complete noob. Okay, there you have it. That's my review. Hope you found it helpful, and that maybe it kind of shows you that this cheap item here is not horrible. As long as you get it, you check it for damage immediately. You go out and test hang in it as soon as possible, and if anything goes wrong, you send it back, because, well, for these I got them under Amazon Prime, so I figured worst case scenario, I got this item in, tested it, absolutely hate it, I was just going to send it back, or if there was any sort of damage. And so that's one thing that probably exists more on the cheaper side of stuff, is quality control. So quality can be great, but every once in a while there's a bad item through there and they don't have the same quality control in place, because that's a cost savings to them, is not to have that QA inspection. And so that bad item makes it out the door rather than being caught and reworked before heading out. So that's where immediately check your stuff as soon as you get it in. Send it back. Hopefully you do it through Prime so it doesn't really cost you anything. And then just get another one, and the next one will probably be great. That's the only caveat I would say on buying cheap stuff like this, is watch out for that quality control and do it in a way that it's easily returnable. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Feel free to subscribe. I will definitely be doing more camping equipment reviews as I'm getting into that and backpacking. And thanks for watching.